So your shifter feels loose, like you're stirring soup instead of picking a gear, and now you've spotted red or brown fluid spots under the car. Ignore this and you could be staring down a $500 repair bill, or even a full transmission replacement. And here's the thing, the same repair most shops quote at $300 to $500 can be done at home for under $60, with tools you probably already own. These two symptoms might seem minor at first, but they're often signs of worn shifter bushings and a leaking transmission seal. Left alone, they can lead to missed shifts, accelerated wear, and even complete transmission failure. But here's the good news, you don't need a rebuild, and you don't need a $1,000 shop job. In this video, I'll show you exactly how to diagnose and fix a sloppy shifter, stop fluid leaks, and replace shifter bushings and seals yourself, saving you hundreds in labor and keeping your transmission alive for years. Before we start, here's your 30-second check. 1. Does your shifter move more than an inch side to side in gear? 2. Do you struggle to cleanly hit first, reverse, or drive? 3. Do you hear clicks or clunks when shifting? If you said yes to any of those, stick around. This guide is for you. Still here? Let's get to it. What causes a sloppy shifter? When your shifter starts feeling loose or disconnected, the most common cause is worn shifter bushings. These small rubber or plastic components connect your shifter linkage to the transmission or gear selector shaft. Over time, they degrade due to heat, vibration, and age, causing excessive play in the shifter. In manual transmissions, this leads to imprecise gear changes and grinding. In automatics, it might prevent the car from fully engaging park, reverse, or drive. In some cases, you might even find that your shifter pops out of gear while driving, which is not only annoying but dangerous. This problem is especially common in older Hondas, Ford trucks, Subaru manuals, and pretty much any high-mileage stick shift that's still running its original bushings. Symptoms of a bad shifter bushing. Here's how you know your shifter bushings are likely worn out. First, excessive side-to-side or front-to-back play in the shifter. You may notice that the shifter feels loose or mushy even when the car is off. Second, missed shifts or difficulty engaging certain gears, especially first, reverse, or drive. Third, unusual noises like clicking, popping, or metal-to-metal clunking when shifting. In some cars, worn bushings can even affect the shift cable tension, causing hard shifting or a mismatch between gear position and actual transmission gear. But knowing the symptoms is one thing, finding the exact cause without tearing your transmission apart is another. Here's how to pinpoint the root cause in minutes. How to inspect the shifter linkage and bushings. Start by visually inspecting the shifter linkage underneath the car or under the center console, depending on your vehicle. Have someone move the shifter while you look at the linkage underneath if the cable ends or linkage rods have excessive play, or if you see dry, cracked, or missing bushings, it's time to replace them. Some bushings may still be present, but so worn out that they no longer provide support. Use a flashlight to look at the pivot points, retaining clips, and any worn rubber parts. The last one I worked on had bushings so bad, the shifter cable was almost hanging free. No wonder the owner couldn't find reverse. In some cases, you may need to remove the shift cable end from the transmission side to inspect the inner bushing or grommet. Fixing the sloppy shifter, replacing bushings. Shifter bushings are inexpensive and widely available, even as upgraded aftermarket kits are made from polyurethane or brass. For example, if you're working on a Honda Civic, the Energy Suspension 16.1102G kit is a popular upgrade. For Ford F-150 owners, the Dorman 924-710 kit is a direct fit replacement. And if you're unsure, you can grab a universal bushing kit like the $12 one from Amazon. Just make sure it matches your shifter linkage diameter. To replace them, first disconnect the battery. Then, remove any trim or covers around the shifter. If the bushings are located under the car, safely jack the car up and secure it with jack stands. Use pliers or a small pry tool to remove the old, worn bushings and any retaining clips. Install the new bushings with a bit of silicone grease or lithium grease for smoother operation. Make sure everything fits snugly. There should be no slack or wiggle in the linkage once it's reconnected. Reinstall all clips and test the shifter movement before lowering the car. When it's done right, you'll notice the difference instantly. The shifter will feel tight and precise again, and that vague, wobbly play will be gone. Leaking transmission fluid. What to look for? A slow leak might look harmless, but lose too much fluid and your transmission will start slipping or fail completely, often without warning. Now let's talk about that puddle under your car. Transmission fluid leaks are often caused by worn seals, particularly the shifter shaft seal, output shaft seal, or the shift linkage entry point on automatic transmissions. These seals are responsible for keeping fluid contained inside the transmission case. When they degrade or crack, fluid starts to seep out, especially when the transmission gets hot and pressure increases. Leaks may be slow and appear as occasional drops on your driveway, or they may be more serious, leading to low fluid levels and poor shifting. Identifying the source of the leak. Start by cleaning the transmission case with brake cleaner and wiping off any grime. Then, drive the car for a short distance and inspect the area. If fluid is coming from the shifter shaft, you'll see it pooling around the linkage or dripping from the pivot arm. On rear-wheel drive vehicles, the output shaft seal at the drive shaft connection is another common leak point. Use a flashlight to check for red, ATF, or brown fluid. Also, check the transmission pan gasket, cooler lines, and speed sensor housing. If the leak is clearly coming from the shifter seal or linkage grommet, it's a straightforward fix. Replacing the shifter shaft seal, automatic transmission. To replace a leaking shifter shaft seal, you'll need to access the shift shaft at the side or top of the transmission. Disconnect the shifter linkage from the shaft. You may need to remove a retaining nut, clip, or cotter pin. Carefully pry out the old seal using a seal puller or small flathead screwdriver. Be gentle to avoid scratching the bore. Before installing the new seal, lubricate it with a small amount of transmission fluid. Press it in evenly using a socket that matches the outer diameter of the seal. Reattach the linkage and check for proper alignment. Top off the transmission fluid afterward and test for leaks after driving. Replacing the shift linkage grommet or seal, manual transmission. In manual transmissions, the shift linkage often enters the transmission through a sealed housing or boot. If this boot or seal is cracked or missing, it can cause fluid leaks and allow contaminants into the gearbox. To replace it, disconnect the linkage rod from the transmission and slide the old boot or seal off. Clean the area thoroughly and install the new seal with fresh grease. In some cases, the seal may be secured with a snap ring or retainer. Once everything is back in place, refill the transmission if needed and check for leaks after driving. Topping off or changing transmission fluid. If you've been leaking fluid or working on the seals, it's a good idea to check your fluid level. For automatics, use the dipstick, if equipped, while the engine is running and in park. For manuals, remove the fill plug and check if the fluid is level with the bottom of the hole. If it's low, top off with the correct fluid type, ATF or gear oil, depending on your transmission. Don't mix fluid types. If your car is older or the fluid looks burnt or dirty, consider doing a full fluid change while you're already under the car. It's a simple job that can dramatically improve shifting performance and prolong transmission life. How much you can save by doing it yourself? Let's talk cost. Replacing shifter bushings at a shop can cost $150 to $300 in labor alone. A shifter shaft seal job can run $250 to $500, especially if the shop needs to drop the transmission. But doing it yourself? Most bushing kits cost under $30. A replacement seal is typically under $15. Add in some basic tools, grease, and a bit of time, and you're looking at a DIY repair for under $60 total and likely saving hundreds of dollars in the process. Plus, you get smoother shifting and the satisfaction of fixing it yourself. So, what car are you working on? Drop it in the comments. I'd love to know what you're fixing and if you've run into this problem before.